Welcome to Inspired Living with Keri Murphy, the podcast, where as your host each and every week, I am going to inspire you and empower you to share your message and step into that big vision you see for yourself. I'll be bringing you celebrity interviews, influencer insights, and my personal tips from decades as an on-camera talent, TV host, media expert, and entrepreneur, so you can build a brilliant seven-figure brand. Because when you're inspired, you inspire others. So let's go. Tina Fey, Sheryl Sandberg, Serena Williams, Tom Hanks, Jodie Foster, Kate Winslet. What do all of these names have in common? They suffer from imposter syndrome, that overcoming deep-rooted belief that you don't deserve success. If you are looking to achieve great things in your life, but you too suffer from this chatter that you're not good enough, who's going to want to see me, who cares about my message, then this ILTV episode is for you. I've worked with so many clients, and when it comes to being visible, that is the one thing that I feel like I hear a lot. It's who's going to want to see me. Someone else is already sharing my message, or I don't know what I have to share that's different. The fact that you are on this planet is different. The fact that if you do the scientific research to look at what it took to get you here, doing what you do with your unique story and your unique way of sharing it, that alone makes you viable, makes you extraordinary, and makes you needed. If this is you, I just want you to take a moment and breathe in just how special you are. And out of the 7 billion people on the planet, there will never be another one of you. When it comes to imposter syndrome, it's important to take a moment and realize the thought. Look at, where did that belief come from? Did it come from family? Did it come from school? Did it come from your community or maybe your religious background? Whatever it is, it's important that you just look at it and you assess where this belief came from. Because unless we can really look at a belief and look at where it came from, we can't reframe it. All right, so the first thing is just to acknowledge that you're feeling these feelings. The second tip is to share these feelings with someone else. I just gave you a list of celebrities that just like you have these same thoughts, have these same feelings, and there's many, many others. One of the core attributes to someone who suffers from imposter syndrome is the need to be perfect. So we need to go back to what I've said a million times. The P in perfection stands for poison. That the more you try to show up as something you're not, the more it's going to be challenging, the more difficult it's going to be to show up as your authentic self. And when it comes to building an influential brand or building a business, that's what people want more than anything else. People don't want perfect, curated content. They want real. They want behind the scenes. They want your unique story. So as you're looking into this year and what it is that you want to accomplish, the imposter syndrome is really connected to perfectionism. So look at how you can start to move through that perfectionism by setting realistic goals. That's right. Most perfectionists don't want to fail. There's nothing wrong with failing. In fact, ask any successful entrepreneur. We've all failed a million times. It is through the failing that we actually get clear on what it is and who it is that we want to be. And it actually gets us one step clearer and closer to our dreams. So don't worry about messing up or being imperfect or failing along the way. Those are all good steps and markers that you're actually on your way to achieving success. And it was really interesting when I was looking into imposter syndrome. People who are frauds don't suffer from imposter syndrome, right? People who actually are imposters don't suffer from this. It's actually the people that are really successful, that have so much talent, that suffer from imposter syndrome. So if this is you, know already that you have so much to share, right? And that it's because of that that you feel the fear of being seen. I recently interviewed Pam Salzman. If you haven't listened to her podcast, you have to go back and listen to it. She's a very well-known LA cook, and she teaches cooking classes all over the world. And she shifted from corporate into what she's doing today. She's a national best-selling author. And she said something because she suffered from this too. And she said, a friend gave me great advice. You'll never know everything, so just share what you know. Is that not so great? Like when we're stepping into a business or we're starting a business, we feel like we need to know everything. No, you don't. All you have to do is be 1 or 2 steps ahead of the person behind you, right? You're never going to know everything. I'm never going to know everything, but you know something. Share that. And the more you share, the more you serve other people, the more that imposter syndrome is going to peel away from you, because you're going to start getting feedback. Thank you so much for sharing that tip. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being authentic. Oh my gosh, that changed my life. The more you think about trying to be perfect and making a significant difference in the world, the less likely you are to step into that. The more you allow yourself to be imperfect, you set realistic goals, and you just show up to serve, the imposter syndrome will take a backseat. I don't know if it ever goes away, but I do know that you can pretty much squash it this year and be committed to showing up as the most authentic version of you. Now, I would love to hear from you because I know many people suffer from this. And again, doesn't it feel good when we know we're not alone, right? So I would love for you to share your comments. And if you are ready to be a part of a community that really helps you show up as the inspired, brilliant leader that you are, please come join our Facebook group. It's Ignite Your It Factor. I go live in the group every week. The community is amazing, and you will no longer feel alone on the planet of unicorns and fairy tales. You've got this. Your vision is viable. Your dream is waiting for you. So step into it and say bye-bye to imposter syndrome. You've just heard another uplifting episode of Inspired Living with Keri Murphy, the podcast. I hope you loved it. If you haven't yet, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. And if you'd like to know more about Inspired Living or to get your hands on many of our awesome free resources, such as the Be Studio Ready Guide, simply visit us at inspiredliving.tv/podcast. Remember, your vision is your destiny, and we're here to help you bring it to life. Join me again next week for another extraordinary episode.